Hello there, Smite fans, and we're back with set number 2 of the day. We just got to see Enix not make it all the way through undefeated, but that's going to be interesting to see how exactly RivaL can handle CAZ coming up in the next one.
Enix apparently can bleed. Pretty important set for them, though, considering that they are now guaranteed for their LAN, the console LAN that'll be happening in November. So pretty exciting stuff, and that's actually what makes this set so enticing now for RivaL against CAZ, because there is a lot of implications that could possibly happen here.
Yeah, RivaL really needs some wins to be able to kind of pick things up. The same thing can be said for CAZ. They really need some wins. I think they actually need to find both of them if they want to find themselves successful in moving forward. RivaL, not quite as much on the line for them because they've been a little bit more successful in the past weeks.
Yeah, RivaL's already sitting at 3 points, so if they're able to secure at least one victory out of this set, then they'll be locked away for that second place position in EU, which means that they'll also be guaranteed for the LAN. But if CAZ, they have the possibility, their fate is in their own hands. Walking away with a clean set victory means that they'll be the ones headed to LAN instead.
It's a lot on the line, and the two teams have a lot to prove, and the only way they can enter the proving grounds is through picks and bans first, as we can go in. And a lot has been going through with console. A lot of changes over the few weeks and the splits as well. And Europe still kind of bounces things around the way that we see, and pretty much any time we go to Europe for anything, they always like to change things up, and RiGen is going to be the first ban.
No surprise there, really, to see that RiGen banned away. Same thing could be said for the RDO. It seems as though both of these sides are already trying to just take away some of those early pressure guys. You know that RiGen has great lane clear. You know that RDO can have great team fight control. Not really wanting to have to worry about either of those factors.
The one ban that catches my eye, that I've been rooting for weeks at this point after we've seen him be so successful, is the Kukulin. Every single time he has made it through, he's first pick, or in the first game we saw today, he ends up being second pick, but he comes through and makes such a large impact, just fighting constantly, always like tops of the player damage, making sure to make solo lane as uncomfortable as possible. So banned away, I'm happy to see it.
And same thing could be said for the Geb as well, but mostly I'm loving that first pick Ratatoskr from CAZ. I think that that's a great pickup. Has a little bit of flexibility that could potentially be in the solo lane, although I would normally expect that to be headed towards jungle, just because having that have global pressure on the map is always nice.
RivaL going to respond with the Osiris, who ye pretty much stables. Osiris kind of flexes in and out, and speaking of flex, there's a Kuzenbo who's been hovering in and out of the games. Normally when you have a lot on the line, that's not the first pick I go to in my head.
I don't know. Kuzenbo has been a staple pick as of late. I think that there's been a lot of actual positive feedback from him ever since he received his buff. He's really become a viable member to most drafts, because he's not necessarily going to be the ultimate peeling factor, but he can be quite a nuisance in those team fights, just standing in front of your carries, not really allowing them to get off that damage that they would normally find, and also just having so much reflect damage, you'd probably expect him to pick up with Thorns as well. Can be really annoying for those auto attack heavy characters like Huyi and Osiris.
The one that's another surprise coming through, so pretty much all the bans, they're good bans. Nothing was bad out of the first 4, but Skadi went through, and a lot of players have had a lot of issues playing up against Skadi lately, and I think that's kind of a big one here, being able to grab that right before that second ban phase for CAZ, so they're probably happy they were able to get it in the first place, and hoping that the matchup goes well. But Thor, Sobek on the other side for RivaL, just really staple picks.
RivaL opting to ban away the Geb and RDO in their first pick ban selection means that they had a lot more concerns for that. I believe that's also why we see the Huyi selection coming through for RivaL, because maybe anticipating that CAZ would opt for the Skadi. And with that in mind, you want best laning phase possible. Huyi is going to be able to at least keep up with the Skadi in terms of lane clear and lane pressure.
Isis, I think, is going to be the little flavor added there for RivaL just at the very end. Coming through, we don't get to see that a lot. We actually see like Amuz and Cobb taken down because we've seen Double Hunter come through. He likes to be run in mid. Skadi can also be run mid, so that would give a lot of ambiguity to CAZ. Banning that one through forces them to the Scylla. But Isis has been one of those ones that she's really great if you can hit all of your Spirit Balls and you can get that damage down.
RivaL have a very standard team fighting composition where the whole mindset, I think, is to really just try and protect the Isis. I would see this Isis going mostly utility here, although knowing that your Isis is going to be able to out-clear that Scylla in the mid lane is going to make things a little bit more difficult for Elexum, especially since Watson loves playing a little bit more aggressive already on those mid laners.
I completely glanced over the fact that I saw Terra, because I saw Terra and just internalized it as, oh yeah, support. There's no big difference there. that does mean that Kuzenbo is going somewhere different. He's going to be over there in the solo for Mr. Turtle up against Gnome on that Osiris. It's going to be interesting to see how he can handle this, because he can put out a decent amount of damage, although right now he's getting boxed.
He can put out a decent bit of damage, but it's not the same kind of damage as an Osiris. And Gnome already making Maloaise and Mr. Turtle aware of his presence, meaning that RivaL really wants his buff invade, but Atonement actually going to be on the lookout, starting to make that rotation with the Elexum.
Now, a lot of control for RivaL early on, and we've kind of seen this through the way they've played the last few weeks. This team really does like getting the lead before fighting. They like to be ahead, and then when you come into a fight, you haven't fought, so you haven't really lost anything. And for CAZ, you come into it thinking, okay, yeah, this is going to be an even fight, and then all of a sudden you're 3 levels down, you have no idea what just happened, but you've lost 2 or 3 members, and that's just kind of the style RivaL likes to kind of put into their matches.
RivaL has always loved farming everything out and trying to just do slow bleeds to teams more than anything else this split, where if they can grab all of the global farm available, then that just means that the enemy team is going to steadily but surely fall behind.
So, out of clear, normally I'm used to seeing a Soul Stone picked up on a Scylla. Do you think that Isis really needs that against the Scylla? Does she have worse clear overall?
Isis doesn't have worse clear, but it's evident that Watson wants to just try and apply as much pressure as possible. And being Isis, he has that flexibility. Hold that thought. Rapio actually a little bit of danger here, going for that spin to win onto Maloaise, just trying to get Mr. Turtle and Maloaise to back off.
A lot of damage traded between the 2 junglers right there. And surprisingly enough, no one wanted to get aggressive. RivaL usually not fighting that much, but CAZ really want the blood, and they are trying to push as hard as they can in that solo lane to get that pressure.
And finishing up on that thought process, it's not necessarily that Isis loses the clear war against Elexum as much as it is Isis can solo buffs herself, and that's going to provide him to be able to just clear out the jungle.
Gnome looking to get bullied out right now, Mr. Turtle. He's been left alone. Maloaise decided he's been set up, so he doesn't need the help anymore. And as Kuzenbo, he has a lot going for him, but I feel like he's very dependent on certain things to get success out of this lane, whereas Osiris is just going to be Osiris, although getting pushed back not quite to the tower, not going to get the damage down, and Mr. Turtle's just kind of stuck, still farming, but now pushed back and behind.
Cutting it a little bit close there. He's got to be careful. Gnome has to be really careful not to get trapped up inside that tower line, especially when Kuzenbo hits level 5, because it can be really difficult to get out once he starts going into that ultimate.
Yeah, it's probably the second spin to win we'll see that's going to have a really big impact, just going into the turtle and making sure he can have that impact and pushing you back as we see the stun looking to come through, trying to find any hits they can, but JacobHL, they've got the minion wave. They're not really worried on the side of RivaL right here.
And Atonement, having joined up with Switch now in that duo lane, just means that he's trying to catch up on a little bit of farm. JacobHL and Switch were left alone initially to just solo farm the duo lane. Speaking of which, Maloaise now actually looking to go in on Gnome.
Gnome going to take a lot of damage, and Turtle going to come around with that kill, getting the first blood, but now the stuns are dropped in the duo lane, and we see Dobson actually falling back. Jacob not going to be able to get the pluck because knock-up immunity there for the Terra, and overall it's going to be 1 kill for CAZ, and RivaL's not able to find any retaliation.
Great trade out so far for CAZ, although it did cost Atonement his purification beads. With that being on cooldown, he needs to be incredibly careful not to get plucked by JacobHL. Dobson has enough damage with his first ability to kill him.
We're going to try and get this going down. We're going to have the stun come through. The ricochet is good. Atonement getting chased down, and that's going to be the pickup. Jacob gets the credit for that one from the lurking in the waters, and Switch, with barely any life left, is going to have to fall back and keep himself safe.
There's not much else that a Terra can do in that situation. Switch didn't have his ultimate up and ready to go, so Atonement kind of just a sitting duck as soon as that pluck came through.
Gnome, welcome back to lane. Half health almost immediately as he gets back in there. And Maloaise looking to kind of keep that pressure down for Mr. Turtle, make sure nothing goes through. Thor in the sky comes crashing down, gonna find Switch, the Berserker's Barrage. Just enough damage. Rapio is gonna be able to pick up a kill.
One more wave. It's every time when you think that you can get away with it, and it just so happens that somebody is there. And great recognition by Rapio to punish that overstay by Switch.
And that's something we see a lot with Thor, and a lot of reason that vision around the Gold Fury Pit is important whenever you're against him. He's got that semi-global ult. He can go and sit in that Gold Fury Pit, come crashing down to your lane before you know he's around. The same thing can be said in this case for Maloaise as well. He's going to be able to traverse a long way to be able to help out any lane. So as long as his ult is up, he's going to be a nuisance for wherever he might be. Here, it's going to be mid and solo.
Maloaise, having already spent so much time in the solo lane, is probably the main reason why we see Rapio making that rotation in the first place to duo. He knows that his solo laner is already being out-pressured. He's looking to make plays on opposite sides of the map to try and alleviate some of that control that CAZ has over the solo right now.
Now trying to find the pressure to push back. RivaL is in decent control. I mean, they finally got 2 kills. For a team that doesn't fight a lot, they are fighting a little bit more this time, trying to keep things rolling. And it's up to Rapio to maybe find that little bit of extra push his team needs to break through, because they don't have as much initiation outside of him.
Pretty efficient farming, though, from CAZ. All things aside, it hasn't really been too much of a gold disparity, despite the fact that RivaL are leading by a kill. And part of that is just due to the fact that CAZ actually had that first blood.
JacobHL, I like just seeing him sit around the corner. That's always one of my favorite plays for a support, because he's still in just enough range to get that experience from the farm, from the wave, but he's hiding to make sure that Atonement could possibly end up getting plucked. Unfortunately, Atonement being able to kind of read the map a little bit better and recognizes he probably shouldn't get too aggressive with the way this lane has been going, and Switch finally make his way back over here. All in all, this is kind of where I expect RivaL to be. They're going to look for setup, but they're not going to go for anything that's too outlandish.
They'll never try to force anything. I think that's the main thing about RivaL, is they prefer to go for the guaranteed picks over the possibilities. And Mr. Turtle, speaking of which, getting a little poked out there by Watson, but wow, huge return fire from Elexum.
Elexum getting that Book of Thoth and 36 stacks. Apparently it hurts a lot more as the Suns are dropped over here on the left-hand side, but Atonement, again, playing it safe. He's hovering just a little bit further back to make sure that when plays like that come out of RivaL, he's not going to be the one who gets punished all around the board. His
purification beads were forced out again, though, so he's going to have to be careful about Rapio or potentially even JacobHL looking for that gank. Elexum and Switch trying to contest those left mid harpies, but going to be just a little bit too late there.
Scylla and Isis are 2 really huge team fight goddesses, I guess, coming down to it, that have a huge impact, but for completely different reasons, but it's all on the ult.
It could potentially be all in the ult, although I would probably favor Elexum outside when the ultimates are on cooldown, just because that crush tends to come up huge in comparison to the Wing Gust.
I also think it's going to be nice to see Elexum potentially throughout the game. He's going to be a big secure for his team. Normally, when you're up against an Isis, you're like, well, Circle of Protection, we can't get the Gold Fairy. Circle of Protection, we can't do Fire Giant. He opens the door for his team, and I think CAZ might have picked that kind of knowing whatever they have on the side of RivaL, we can at least deal with it.
There's not a whole lot of hard CC, though, for CAZ when it comes to those team fights, in comparison to RivaL, at least, where you can rely on the stun off the Spirit Ball, you can rely off the stun from the Thor wall, even Dobson has his own form of a stun. It's just every single member of RivaL seems to have their own form of CC in comparison to CAZ.
I'm kind of interested to see, because a lot of them have that stun, the lockdown while you're in place. I want to see if JacobHL is going to end up making one of those plays where it's, hey, I'm Sobek, and then he ends up throwing them away from the abilities, which is always kind of the rough spot when you're having that pluck. But as it stands right now, I mean, CAZ seem to have control of the map. The farm, about 1,000 gold between the 2 teams, 2 kills to 1, 9 minutes in, and this is where RivaL, they like to shine. Like, they just like to sit back. They like to farm. We've said it before. But the problem is if CAZ can farm better than you, you're going to end up finding yourself falling back, and then you won't be able to keep up in the fights later.
So far, so good, though, for CAZ and RivaL. Either side trying to just take it a little bit slower, I'd imagine, knowing what's on the line today. Both sides really looking to try and make their way to land. And in order to do that, I mean, only one side can come out with the victories.
So we mentioned Kuzenbo and Picks and Bans. We've been watching him quite a bit over here. He likes to fight. He likes to go in, and Maloaise is helping him get all of that done. His build right now is a little bit different, but he did opt to go immediately into that Vampiric Shroud. Do you think this was like specifically sustained to keep him alive in the lane? I
like the Vampiric Shroud choice because of that Nene Kappa. He can shoot that out from a range, and it's always going to pretty much land on somebody, and it's really difficult for it to not auto-target a member from the enemy team, so you're going to basically always be able to proc that Vampiric pretty easily.
It's going to be good for him. And then opting Tier 2 and the breastplate, kind of an odd choice to get the protection, but it's to be able to go up against Gnome, because Gnome has been boxing very hard since very early on, so at least giving them a little bit of ground as RivaL going forward, getting the camps that they can, but again, they're not looking for the aggression like you said. They're not going to force the fight unless they know it's going to be a guaranteed kill, and honestly, there's enough getaway for CAZ that I don't think they want to go in too hard.
CAZ has a little bit more mobility than RivaL probably, but RivaL still has some great escape potential, and their carries aren't going to be in as much danger as CAZ's, so that is one thing that RivaL can probably use to their advantage.
Coming in on 11 minutes. We have the Portal Demon now available on the right-hand side of the map as Rapio almost taking a little bit of damage. The wall coming through, but not going to be able to find what he wants. And that's kind of where I expect to see him make the plays for his team. It's going to be a small thing at first. It's going to be the wall to force the beads.
The double ward in mid lane really just not taking any chances on deciding whether or not Elexum is trying to look for a poke out. And when it comes to a poke out, Maloaise actually a little bit of trouble, still A-okay.
Like, you can see that RivaL do know the mobility on the side of CAZ, because right there, once Jacob missed the pluck, the call was immediately fall back. We aren't going to be able to catch him. He's Ratatoskr, he's got a speed buff, and even if we chase him down, we're just going to find ourselves way too far in the lines of CAZ eSports, and they just immediately make that call to fall back. But they want the aggression. They're rotating a lot over to this Gold Fury side.
Neither side, though, really in a rush to try and break out of that team fight. If I'm RivaL, I want to look for the pick more than anything else. Anytime you have a Thor on your team, you kind of just want to really play around that, and you want to permit him to find those opportunities, or at least try and poke out members so that your Thor can look for the cleanups.
Now, Doomorb has always been hit or miss, and we were kind of touching on the Isis versus Scylla matchup earlier. The Soul Stone trying to make up for a little bit of the pressure that you're potentially going to end up losing. Does this Doomorb make an impact to the late game?
Considering RivaL's playstyle, yes. This Doomorb should be very impactful. Watson shouldn't have any problem stacking that one up unless CAZ out of nowhere suddenly decide to amp things up. But I can't see that being the case, considering Elexum, he has that Bookathoth online, he's got the Pin Boots. Speaking of which, RivaL, though, actually looking to make that rotation onto Maloaise in the mid lane.
Maloaise caught out, knocked up, plucked back, but the beads come through just in time to keep him alive. Terra's Blessing used as well, which might be a big sign for RivaL to potentially force some fights all over the place. But now the immediate rotation, they call it out. The Gold Fury is their target, and they're going to be going for it. Rapio eating a Sickle and a Crush to the face. Immediately has to fall back, and that's going to cancel the call for the team.
That Gold Fury looked appetizing up until Rapio ate half of his health bar for trying to play zoning. That was his duty. He was just trying to zone out anyone from CAZ who might have been looking to head into that Gold Fury pit. Elexum's damage, though, already getting its way up there.
Now, CAZ, I mean, that's a pretty big successful bout to be able to keep RivaL off of that. They've already kind of farmed up enough of a small lead that they're able to go for it. And Atonement looking to try and make the aggressive call for his team and go in. There is no vision on this side of the Gold Fury pit for RivaL, but they're going to be able to call this one out. The Spirit Ball comes through, and it completely whiffs, and now there's not going to be any engagement from either side.
Elexum wasn't able to connect with that Crush either, so now both teams just happy that the other isn't able to take the objective. They're probably just going to go right back to farming away. Both sides can really profit from making it to the late game. A couple of gods on either end that don't fare so well as the minutes start to get up there, but right now it's safe to just maintain the farming stature.
Jacob again going for that positioning, hiding around the wall, looking to try and find any plucks, any aggression. And that's going to be the lane that I think has the best opportunity to try and find some of the forced issues that RivaL could look for. Everywhere else, it's going to be kind of back and forth. Do we want to force the beads? Do we want to trade out this ult? But that's going to be the big lane for them, as the Oracle Harpies are the point of contention. They're going to go get split, and JacobHL taking a lot of poke. Maloaise are coming through, but it's going to completely miss. The suns are dropped, and Elexum's the main target, and he's going to take the spill there.
Elexum nowhere left to run. Watson able to clean that one up thanks to his ultimate. Maloaise actually thinking about re-engaging, but considering it's already a 4v5, they're just trying to save whatever they have left to try and prevent RivaL from securing this Gold Fury.
Hovering around, and that's going to be the big thing. They have enough presence here on the side of CAZ to stop this out. Rapio up in the sky. The team started the Gold Fury. He is really just getting the vision to make sure his team is safe. They're going to try to leash that away. They're bouncing it around. They want to bait this in and get a bigger fight. Gnome's even rotated over for it, and they're just going to drop it.
RivaL just not feeling too confident in that one. Even though they had the man advantage, they still just didn't want to risk CAZ's contention, knowing just how much damage CAZ can still put out.
I think overall, the big thing that comes out of it, yes, you get a kill, you get rid of Elexum, which is going to be big for your team. You find a little bit of a push. On the other side, though, Mr. Turtle is still trying to find as much aggression as he can. He took the one blue buff away from RivaL. Now he's going to secure his own. To be just happy with the farm he's getting over there. And since Gnome had to rotate the entire way, he just lost all that farm.
And Mr. Turtle almost took down that T1 tower as well. And once that soloing tower falls, that just means that Mr. Turtle is going to start joining these engagements a lot sooner than Gnome. Gnome is probably going to want to try and push out his own T1 tower just to eliminate that side of map pressure to worry about. But definitely making some own plays. Mr. Turtle just styling away on that Kuzenbo.
Yeah, making himself look pretty, going to go through, and actually having a surprisingly decent lane up against this Osiris. Early on, it was a little rough patch, but with the help of Maloaise, he's been able to go through. We're looking at the crabs I see being circled around over there in case we were going to miss the crab dance, but
I learned, actually, it was Maddie who showed me, they actually brawl on that beach, and one crab will actually toss the other one. It's this guy. It's like this big one, and then he actually flips him. Just flips him right on his noggin.
That's just mean.
Yeah, he's a cyberbully.
There's another fun fact. Out there, if you are in the lane,
there it goes.
They're going to go for it.
There it goes. And then he's going to toss him right there.
That's just rude. Like well, he flips him back over, so at least he's showing he's sportsmanship. He's like, I win the fight, but I'll make sure you're back over. There's also a Loch Ness monster or some sort of sea monster over there hiding in the river. You can't really see it from this angle. It's hard to get up in this map, but if you're there in third person, you're farming up your ADC, go ahead and look over. Mid camps, those are a thing in the game, and they're taken there by RivaL as they're still just farming. They go in, they look like they're going to set up for a fight, and then they immediately, we're going to go ahead and back off.
That little Nene Kappa, though, from Mr. Turtle actually starting to tick away at that tower health even more. Mr. Turtle might be looking to just full commit on this one pretty soon. He has a ton of CDR, and sure enough, tossed out that little Nene. That T1 tower is guaranteed to fall.
All right, Taco, you're the one who is going to be the best person to ask about this. We have a High to the Urchin, and we have it on Watson, and they're not really behind, but they're not really ahead. What do you feel about this one?
It doesn't really matter. It's kind of too soon to tell, to be completely honest. It's a really low kill count, but considering that RivaL aren't drastically far behind, it's probably going to work out just fine for Watson. He already has 50 stacks on that Doom Orb. The Doom Orb and the Pen Boots pickup is the primary reason why I don't really have any gripes with this. It's not like he's behind right now. He's actually got a level lead over Elexum, and he has more than enough power because of what he's built so far.
And I think that's the big one, is he's not really losing damage for picking this up, where we've seen a few odd choices of the Hide of the Urchin on mid laners where it's been behind and they just don't have the damage to be able to dish it out. And at this point, looking like he can try and go forward with it, actually having a pretty decent lead over Elexum. Not like a half a level, it's almost a completely full level there, now 16 to 15. They both just ticked up. So he's got a pretty decent grasp on this mid lane.
I think the primary reason why we're seeing such a lull in the game is because the few moments that CAZ has tried to initiate against RivaL has found the upper hand. And even though it's only been a pick at a time, they still just don't want to continue risking things against RivaL, recognizing that if we continue getting picked, that's only going to give RivaL even more of a lead. And so we'd rather just play it back, farm it out, wait for the pure team fight stage where we think that we can pressure the advantage.
CAZ gets canceled, and RivaL are not really wanting to go in as full commit as they could until they have as much as they go forward. CAZ still trying to find that pressure. They won all across the map. It's going to be with the Gold Fury, but it's going to get dropped almost immediately just because, again, nothing is going to allow them. They don't have enough secure out of it, especially with Watson still alive and around, that they feel comfortable full committing onto it.
As long as Watson is alive and healthy enough to stick around the fight, it's going to be incredibly difficult for CAZ to try and secure any objective. Same could be said as well for RivaL. They really don't want to risk losing that Gold Fury or Portal Demon to that I'm a Monster.
At this point, Maloaise and Rapio are going to be my playmakers. They're going to be the ones that have to initiate for their team. Eventually, Mr. Turtle will leave this right-hand lane alone, and he will start making an impact. But until then, it's going to be Maloaise jumping in, jumping down, and trying to spread some of the love through RivaL and try to set them up for his team. But so far, he hasn't really been able to lock them down the way that you would want.
And both the Hunters now starting to approach that higher marks as far as experience is concerned. Level 17, soon to be 18, and the only other member that high up is Mr. Turtle, actually.
And he's fighting. He's going to be fighting as much as he can. And he's still got control. He finally got that tower. He's finally being able to kind of push forward. The first tower of the game, in fact. And he's going to be the only one who has that aggression as RivaL starting up the Gold Fury, dropping the Gold Fury almost as quickly. But Dobson is going to be their target over the wall, going to get chased down by Maloaise. The stun is good, but there's no follow-up. There's no team behind him. The rest of them just dipped.
Maloaise can't afford to keep trying to poke onto Dobson because Dobson was close enough to the rest of his team that they would have easily made that rotation had they felt that Dobson was actually in danger. More than anything else, Maloaise just trying to hurt him. But speaking of which, Gnome, actually, where'd you go?
And on the very tail end of that, I saw Mr. Turtle, the ult. What we were mentioning earlier was at the tower line, but if there's a wall holding you back, even if it's your own Thor, it's still something for them to lock you up against. And Mr. Turtle utilizing that perfectly. Him and Elexum both using their ults there. And now it's 2-3 at 21 minutes in. It's actually, when you say it like that, it sounds like a really slow game, but they've been doing a lot throughout it.
I want to see CAZ commit to this objective now, though. They have the 4v5. They don't have to worry about Gnome. Their solo laner is here and rearing to go.
Watson does have the ultimate available, looking to try and potentially throw Circle of Protection through. He's going to miss the stun, pop it a little bit early. Mr. Turtle looking to try and run in with Maloaise, who's up in the sky looking at where he wants to go. The choice is going to be back onto the Gold Fury as they're trying to commit to it. It's less than half health, and Watson's being pushed right into them. They're going to leash that away and comes crashing down from the sky as the Thor. He wants some kills. The Suns are dropped. They're dealing the damage. They're zoning him away, but no one is low enough to get killed. Terra's Blessing has been popped, and they're running on through.
And Maloaise now, he's just trying to chase down Rapio. Rapio with a great double tap over the wall. Wasn't able to follow up with the spin to win onto Elexum, but still dealing a lot of damage.
And dashing away, Maloaise keeping himself alive, but Elexum's going to be the first to spill right there. Dobson being able to pick up that kill. And now RivaL are poised to go for the Gold Fury if they want. They're actually forcing out CAZ. They're healing up in the back with the Terra heal.
They're trying to make it happen. Switch wants his team to be healthy enough to maintain this challenge of the Gold Fury, but Mr. Turtle, he might not be enough to do it by himself.
Going to be able to get the pillar, get the root, but it's not going to be enough. Mr. Turtle going to take a spill switch, going to fall shortly after Atonement getting chased down. Maloaise with the Thorns is going to deter some aggression on him, but it's going to turn it all onto his ADC, locked against the wall and locked into the ground.
Rapio just reminding Atonement of where his place actually is, and that's back at base. And with that one, RivaL's looking like they're going to be the first ones, and sure enough, Maloaise baited by how low everybody on RivaL is. And now this Gold Fury one more time, except this time, there's no one left to defend.
Now, if you want to go in, for me, as Ratatoskr, you're like, I want to go in, they're all really low. Wait for your ult, wait till the Gold Fury's low, try for the steal at least before you just take the spill, so you can say that that's the reason you ended up dying instead of just running into 5 members of the other team while the rest of yours were dead.
Maloaise probably felt pressured in that situation where he thought that if he waited for his ultimate to be up, RivaL were going to have burned the Gold Fury by then. Dobson does have the full stacks in his Devourer's Gauntlet, so he has plenty of a power spike to secure that Gold Fury relatively quickly, especially alongside of an Isis. I do think that I would prefer him to not try and contest in that manner, though, if he's not going to commit with the ult.
Now, being able to go into it, I believe they got Maloaise dead in time to get an early deicide there. Now 8-2 in 24 minutes. They bopped it up from 5 kills to 10 kills in the matter of a few seconds. And now RivaL have that solid lead where they normally start looking for these fights. But CAZ, as long as they play appropriately, they still have the levels, they still have the farm that they've gotten. It's not such a large lead for RivaL that they have to give up.
CAZ just seems so indecisive around that Gold Fury pit. They get a great pick off on Gnome, and that was thanks to Elexum and Mr. Turtle, but then they don't look to capitalize on it. Speaking of which, Elexum actually in a lot of danger now.
Rapio looking to try and run in, and then immediately they fall back. RivaL looked like they had the advantage, but I guess they just didn't want to risk it again. Going that far, that deep into the jungle, then puts them a little uncomfortable. They might recognize there's a good chance they could get ganked from behind by Mr. Turtle, and he's got a nice big circle to bop them into the rest of the team and keep them under control. The Portal Demon's going to be started up. And now RivaL has to contest.
Great pull by CAZ. They know Rapio doesn't have that ultimate to get in the way. Maloaise actually going to try and do his best Rapio impression. Looking to go up in the air, trying to dive this backline. It's Elexum who's the target, but it's off the mark.
Going to be able to knock up Jacob and look for it. They do secure the Portal Demon for CAZ, but now it's chasing back with Rapio leading the way, completely canceling the call. They could dive if they wanted to. They're late enough, but they're going to collapse onto Mr. Turtle. They're looking for the kills. The Thorns and the ult popped for him, and he's going to be able to run away. Dobson one hit away. One shot is all it will take. No one's going to be able to find it. I'm a Monster off the mark. Maloaise looking to run on in, and he's going to get stunned out, and this is just a good disengage from RivaL.
That peel for Dobson to get him out of danger. Rapio, though, in a little bit of trouble now. Maloaise committed with the dash, but not much to follow it up with. Watson looking for some more poke potential over the wall, and Rapio, his ult's back up.
Looking where he wants to go down, comes crashing down, finds two, gets the Berserker's Barrage, gonna get some damage onto Elexum, but it's not enough to get the kill. We see Circle Protection popped, but it's not going to be enough. Elexum taken down, Jacob with the kill. Now they're looking to chase on Switch. But the slow, even though it's there, even though he's low, the team seems to want to call to fall back. They aren't going for an objective. That's probably where you would normally see a Fire Giant, and they just drop.
Excellent patience there by Watson, holding that ultimate for Elexum up until that Aegis wore off, just making sure that he was going to eat up all of that damage. And right now, things have just been incredibly difficult for the Scylla to really get up and running. It's just been RivaL consistently pressuring Elexum every time he looks to even try and get some damage off.
Now, Elexum has opted into items that you're used to seeing, but not necessarily in the order you're used to seeing. The Ratatoskr and the Obsidian Shard, but technically second and third, or I guess third and fourth here.
I think that this is a pretty standard build for most mages right now. Fourth item, Ratatoskr, is pretty common because you want that power spike. It's a very expensive item, and you have to invest a whole lot to get it that early, but it's going to pay off. Elexum, even though we haven't really had a chance to see him output too much damage, that's been mostly because of how strong RivaL's target focus has been.
And he's been pretty much the main aggression there for Rapio. He knows that he can kill a Scylla as long as he can keep her locked down, so that's where he's been going. And even now in the mid lane, he's looking to try and find some aggression, maybe just some poke, or keep them zoned away, as now RivaL with 9 kills. They're coming out still on top, haven't dropped one since. But all around the board, they're slowly but surely letting CAZ get to the point where, I mean, Mr. Turtle, Kuzenbo has a really big smile for a reason. It's because at this point he has an itemization enough that he's just not going to die.
He won't die, but I'm not sure he will necessarily be able to help the rest of his team either. Rapio and Dobson just looking to secure those oracles, but what RivaL's done excellently is making sure that they stay grouped up whenever these team fights broke out so that they could all get the same stacks on those Hide of the Urchins, and having even 5+ stacks in that Urchin makes that item more than beneficial. And so now CAZ is going to have an even more difficult time trying to put a hurt onto RivaL.
Now that I've said it, CAZ has, I think, the 2 least serious god cards going into it with Ratatoskr and with the Kuzenbo. Everyone else looks so deathly serious, and RivaL is as well, as they really want this Gold Fury. But again, they're forced to drop it up in the sky as Maloaise, and he's going to be looking to try and secure this as his team picks it up.
And that is actually going to be in favor of RivaL, who managed to steal away the Gold Fury. Now Rapio's committing with the ultimate. They're just trying to collapse onto everybody from CAZ.
Going in, trying to get the separation, and the separation is what they get. Elexum forced to ult to run away. JacobHL not going to take any damage from that one in the backline, being pushed around. Maloaise, Mr. Turtle looking for the kills. Watson is low, but Watson is still ticking. He's going to get taken down by Atonement. Rapio, the next one on the chopping block, but he's just barely able to escape. And Turtle, Atonement, go ahead and grab another one.
That looked like RivaL's fight. As soon as Rapio came crashing down on top of 4 members from CAZ, I thought for sure that RivaL was going to have a great collapse on top of CAZ, but instead they managed to turn it around. Now they're going to be able to secure a T1 tower. It's not the Gold Fury, but 2 kills plus the T1, maybe even a T2 shower push.
Shower push?
Every now and then it happens.
They got to get that wash. As they come through, they're looking for it. Mr. Turtle going aggressive, but he's actually going to get ricocheted. He's 1 hit away, but he's going to force that ult out, run away as fast as he can. And the rest of RivaL, they're going to be able to find Maloaise, but they're so low that it's honestly kind of difficult to hold onto the tower. Gnome is tanky enough. Dobson taking a huge 700 to the face. And now Gnome chasing alone, but I think he recognizes, and the team's probably calling to him, just hold on back.
That's the Ratatoskr saying what's up right there from Elexum. 700 a little bit more than 700 damage off of a single crush that wasn't even charged up, really.
It hurts. Especially when you're an ADC. It hurts a lot.
Especially when you're an ADC.
You're coming forward and you're like, man, I'm feeling great. I've got like 3/4 of my health. I just got this awesome ricochet to force out a tank. And now I have to fall back to base, guys.
That team fight, though, is a great example of how much counter-engage CAZ can have if they're grouped up and able to avoid that initial attack from RivaL.
Starting up the portal, even JacobHL taking that one for his team. The stun from Terra coming through. RivaL more than likely going to drop this one, as they've done with a lot of their objectives. Rapio taking a lot of damage. Mr. Turtle looking to chase him down, but he's going to grab whoever he can to push him into the team. All 5 members of RivaL are over here. They're getting pushed back just by the 3 that are hovering around here for CAZ.
All Mr. Turtle wants to do is reflect as much damage as possible and stand in front of the enemy team. His Thorns are now back up, and he also has that Hand of the Gods, which is going to make it possible for CAZ to have the ultimate secure on this objective.
Pretty much the anti-burst coming down to combat that Watson. Portal Demon going back and forth between the 2 teams. They don't want to full commit just yet, but JacobHL is looking for a pluck. The same thing can be said for Mr. Turtle, as they're just waiting for the setup, but no one wants to act.
Switch has that sustain, though, so this is going to be more in favor of CAZ, because RivaL, they can't stick around for too long. Jacob taking half of his health now. Maloaise farming out those right mid Harpies, and Rapio is just waiting to make that engagement off of his own ultimate, I believe.
Waiting patiently, standing exactly where he can ult, still have a large impact on the team. Crush going to be off the mark. RivaL really want to continue contesting his JacobHL, going to get pushed back, and he's not going to get any damage dumped into him. The Suns are dropped down onto the portal, even only going to connect on a few, and Rapio the same for him, trying to find the kill onto Elexum, going to get the stun, going to get the hit. The slow is good coming down from Gnome, but Sentinel is just a little bit better, and over the wall he goes.
But check out that backline. Atonement just tearing apart Watson because all eyes were on Elexum. Now it's going to be Dobson, who's a whole lot of trouble. He's trying to get those Aussie procs off, but it's to no use. He can't run away from this turtle.
The wall's going to be good. Mr. Turtle can't chase him down. Dobson's one hit. Maloaise in the backline, though, going to be able to find that one. And now it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade overall, but low health bars on the side of RivaL are going to end up making them deter. Same goes for CAZ. They're all very close. But ultimately, RivaL take the spill, and 3-for-1, and Rapio's still looking for the fight.
Everybody's just so split up from RivaL, and as soon as that team fight broke out, that's not the standard RivaL gameplay that we're used to seeing. RivaL went in every which direction, and because of that, CAZ is actually more in favor whenever that occurs, because their comp is all gods that love the 1v1.
Yeah, being able to push forward and find that aggression. What was 2-9 at one point is now 7-11. About 10 minutes later, even, as RivaL are playing kind of uncharacteristically, just the way you had said. They aren't really sure of themselves in the fight, and it seems like they keep collapsing in the wrong places.
Mr. Turtle is doing a great job at distracting RivaL. He's just been pulling so much of their attention that it's permitted those carries from his own team to kind of just do their own thing. Elexum got focused out there pretty heavily, but he was able to escape, and because of that, Atonement was just steadily eating away at Watson's health.
And when they split up that way, I think that's the big thing. Earlier, RivaL was doing that to CAZ. They were forcing them apart so they could find picks easier. RivaL split themselves up. CAZ didn't even have to do that much work with it. Mr. Turtle did help. He was pushing people around, but when it came down to it, they weren't able to do a lot. Now, they're going to go ahead and start up the Portal Demon pretty much the same way we saw the last fight.
I'd imagine this is going to be the same sort of pussyfooting around the objective, though. Mr. Turtle kind of leading the charge here with Switch, but still, CAZ don't really want to commit. They just want to find the picks. If they're able to find the picks and get the safe objective, that's going to be the goal.
Push coming through, but it's not going to be enough to get the kill. Thorns coming down on the side of Gnome, looking for the little bit of damage he can output while the team kind of throws that burst into him, but it's not going to be enough all around the board for RivaL to go in and initiate on. All ults on the board. Everyone is set up. The big one I'm going to be looking for is Rapio. He's going to go up in the sky. The question is, how many people can he actually hit with it?
I'm starting to think these teams just like looking at each other right now because neither side wants to commit. And the one time that they did actually look to commit, it left everybody too low to actually find the objective afterwards.
Now they're going to be going in. Portal Demon stun, going to be good. Gnome taking some damage. Up into the sky goes Rapio, and he's going to be looking for the crash. He gets 3, and he's going to go into the Berserker's Barrage, but the Aegis is coming through. The damage is immune, and he's trying to find these kills. Switch is all it takes to be able to heal back up if they don't win this engagement immediately.
But look at the split. Watson now forced into his own ultimate. Ice's heal going to do a lot of work, but so does that crush from Elexum. Maloaise now trying to just escape. Everybody from CAZ is so poked out, but so is Dobson, and Mr. Turtle has no intention of slowing down.
Once again in the backline, Mr. Turtle just making sure he can do as much disruption and as much distraction for his team. Watson trying to fight up against Maloaise, but Maloaise is coming out on top. A couple more hits is all it will take. Mr. Turtle pushes him into the wall, sets it up. The stun is good. One more hit, and that's going to be the first spill of the fight. Switch does have to fall back because he's getting relatively low. The same goes for Elexum. They're both about one hit. The Fire Giant almost got it, but Gnome going to pick it up just before. Rapio takes the spill as well. 2 for 1 total in this trade so far, as Maloaise getting a little bit caught out.
Mr. Turtle now, though, he's trapped up between 3 members. Dobson's going to be able to claim his life. Atonement still trying to pay attention to that Portal Demon with Switch. 3 versus 2 at the moment. Great wall stun there from Switch, though, to prevent RivaL from chasing any further. And I believe this will finally be RivaL's objective, although Caz's Curse apparently going to come into play. Atonement and Switch aren't done just yet.
They're going to be coming in. The pluck going to miss, lurking in the water. Maloaise comes crashing down, looking for the damage onto Dobson, who's going to have to fall back, but he's keeping aggression, and he's chasing him down, but the ricochet's so strong that Maloaise almost immediately has to fall back. They pick up Jacob, but they can't pick up the Portal Demon for the same reason they haven't been so far. Too low health.
But look at Dobson just getting that steady health regen. He only has about half of his mana to work with here, but his heal off of those Devourer's Gauntlet is going to be a little bit better than the heal that Switch can provide to Atonement off that Terra sustain. And now Dobson really just waiting for the rest of his team to show up. He's kept switching Atonement here at such low health that RivaL could have an opportunity to collapse.
It's one of those awkward moments when you're CAZ, because it's like, I want to back to be able to get full health, full mana, and come back in, but I know if I back, this is going to be what's happened. The Portal Demon's going to get taken, Circle Protection charged up, pop. That's where that one comes through. It comes out just in front of that I'm a Monster. Elexum trying his best. Terra's Blessing going to be used. Maloaise caught out, but overall, he wasn't able to find the steal, and RivaL finally pulled themselves ahead again, I guess. They were still ahead. They've lost so much farm fighting over here in this pit.
It was about an 8-minute brawl for that Portal Demon, just non-stop team fights back and forth of waiting out those respawn timers, one member coming in to try and switch things up, but RivaL finally able to come out on top, and sure enough, CAZ actually did lose out on a decent bit of farm, but it's starting to get late enough into this game where all the members are level 20 anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, level 20, pretty much full builds for almost everyone. There's still a couple tier 2 items that they need to upgrade, so the Gold Fury might be prominent for about one more fight, or just to kind of pull yourself even further in the lead, as it looks like Mr. Turtle, again, just trying to be as aggressive as possible, but the walls from Rapio are going to be good enough to stop them from getting aggressive.
All they really want to do is chase Dobson, trying to find that stun onto Atonement. Atonement, no purification beads available. Actually, no, his beads are still up. He just got plucked in.
One hit away, Dobson being controlled. Mr. Turtle wants the kill. He's going to get the stun. He's trying to chase him, but he's committing too hard to it. Ends up trading his life for it. Dobson's still alive, gets to be able to run away. He can go back. He can heal up. He's happy with that trade.
Seemed like some slight miscommunication there between CAZ, because Mr. Turtle, that was a guaranteed kill if he had even one member with him.
Up into the sky goes Rapio, looking potentially for the kill, although spread out now is CAZ, so he's not going to be able to find 2 people. Ultimately, I expect him to fall back, and he's going to come crashing down. Maloaise wants to chase him forward and is getting the hits half health as he left, but Dobson has come back in. Gnome the entire time, though, trying to 1v2 and feeling the same mistake Mr. Turtle had.
Mr. Turtle, though, was at least able to get a member relatively low before he went down. Gnome just got obliterated there by Elexum. Elexum being that I'm a Monster leads me to believe that he probably connected on that as well.
Coming through, going to be able to use that ult. And at this point, there's not a real big objective. I mean, Fire Giant, but RivaL hasn't committed to anything that you're really worried about. You know, I have time. I can go ahead and throw the ult out, get the kill, try to even that one up, 11 to 14. 5,000, a little under in favor right now for RivaL in terms of gold, but with full builds, that's going to slowly but surely not matter. Wards are going to be important, and then power potions.
There was just so much time lost at that skirmish for the Portal Demon that there hasn't really been a whole lot of impact from RivaL getting those 2 Gold Furies around the mid-game stage, just because a 5,000 gold lead when you're past 20 minutes doesn't have as much of an impact as a 5,000 gold lead before the 10-minute mark.
Now, I think the biggest downside for RivaL out of all of this is there are 10 towers standing out of the 12 that are normally on the map. And the 2 that have fallen have been on the side of RivaL. But they're tier 1s. At this point, honestly, one big swing is all it takes for one team to kind of take that advantage. But map control, mostly, I'd say, in favor of CAZ just because of those 2 tier 1s.
The T2 tower, though, in mid lane at least, is very low. CAZ has done a great job at making sure that their minion wave has been the one pushed up, which is why during these long engagements, we're seeing the towers from RivaL get poked out more than those of CAZ.
Sometimes you don't have to split push. Sometimes you can just let the minions go for it, as RivaL still hovering around the Fire Giant pit, doing the same thing they've done so far, but Mr. Turtle going to push back Jacob. He's going to get rooted down. A lot of damage thrown out, but it's not really going to connect. He's a tank. He doesn't worry. And now Switch is the one sitting at half health.
Switch, though, he's getting focused out pretty heavily here. Pop the sprint, pop the ultimate, still trying to get away. Rapio going to come crashing down on top of him, and he'll clean him up for sure.
Now trying to chase down. The tap is going to be good, but it's not going to find the double. Elexum one hit away, trying to chase him in. Circle of protection off the mark. Elexum one hit away, but the root's going to be good, but the Spirit Ball is better. In the backline, Mr. Turtle finds a kill. Atonement finds a kill, and it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade so far. Jungle ADC for mid support.
Rapio preemptively beats that one, but now Watson in a lot of danger as Maloaise is trying to track him down. JacobHL now looking to try and peel for his mid laner, but he's got no cooldowns available.
Pushing into the wall, Gnome stuck under this tower. The Thorns is going to be good to potentially deter some burst, but that's not going to stop the chase as Jacob just going to go ahead and run right on into Atonement. Seems like the rest of his team didn't even care that Atonement was that lone, and now JacobHL is going to be Sobek. He's going to be able to run away. Maloaise looking to try to rectify this, find a kill for his team. Not going to find the stun, going to find the dash, but it looks like he's just too slow to continue the chase.
Battle of the Mystical Males here between CAZ and RivaL. Maloaise, though, unable to come up with the pick off for Gnome, and Gnome probably just happy that he's able to escape, although with that deep of a commitment by RivaL, there's really no one left to go for the objective. CAZ is actually going to be able to capitalize on this, so that's CAZ's victory.
Coming through tier 2 tower, the first one of the game, looking to get taken down. Mr. Turtle pushed away. He just wants to find the tower. He wants the gold. And no Nene Kappa available to throw in there to see if he can take it up. Now they're going to be forced back. It's barely alive.
He's probably hitting that tower for 43 in auto attack right now. It's just one of those things where you don't really see too much split push Kuzenbo. Still think that favors CAZ, though, in the long run, just because of how incredibly low that T2 tower is. If these brawls keep happening as long as they have been because of overcommitments on both sides, it's going to be a pretty long one.
Portal Demon started up one more time. If you're not familiar with this side of the map by now, you should be. The Portal Demon has been the big objective coming back and forth for the teams. It's going to be secured here by RivaL, no problem that time, as they finally full commit onto something.
RivaL, recognizing that we're past 35 minutes in the game, we have damage, and we can secure the objectives. We don't have to keep resetting it. That is kind of just something that occurs eventually.
So one of the big downsides at this point of the game, though, is the fact that now Watson, he's 5-4. It hasn't been the biggest wins for him in terms of kills, but he's been dying a lot, and I think that's where the Doom Orb comes into play. He actually has to go farm a little bit every now and then just to make sure he keeps those stacks up.
And RivaL making use of that Portal Demon. Dobson's going to be returning with his team alongside a Rapio, and Mr. Turtle kind of just throwing out those nays, looking to just get that slow off onto a RivaL. It's be annoying.
RivaL have control of the pit. And they're looking to try and push forward into this one. With Maloaise, with Rapio, they're both able to engage as long as they want to, but the big question is whether or not CAZ is going to be able to. It's going to be Mr. Turtle who's the first one to go in, and again, it's on JacobHL, which is just too tanky. Your team's not going to be able to burst him. He's not able to get into the backline just yet the way he was earlier, though.
I like the setup mentality there, though, from Mr. Turtle, pushing with that sumo push into the rest of his team, and then having the permafrost connect and make things pretty tricky there for JacobHL. And now it's going to be CAZ on the forefront of this Fire Giant pit control.
Isis with a power pot. I think we're going to see Watson looking for a little bit more aggression coming out of this one, but the big thing is the aggression, and aggression is what CAZ is showing. They want the Fire Giant, or at least they want to bait RivaL into it, and they're trying to find the best way to do it. It's taking a little bit too much damage. Maloaise dashed in just to get into the lava pool, but ultimately they're going to be able to bulk back, heal up, and keep themselves safe, hovering again right around the pit.
Commitments aren't for everyone, and for CAZ, they don't want to commit to the Fire Giant or the team fight just yet, trying to be as cautious as possible. They know exactly what RivaL can do in terms of damage, in terms of counter-engage. They have that Thor ultimate, they have the Isis ultimate, and I can't blame CAZ for feeling uncomfortable inside that Fire Giant. They need to find the pick before they can look for the objective, ideally onto Watson, so that there's nobody left to contest it.
I'm going to be happy with RivaL for a little bit as they come through, just because they have picked up some anti-heal to try and help combat the fact that all CAZ has to do is fall back and heal up to be able to come right back into an engagement. They don't have to go back to the base the entire way, as it looks like, again, looking for the aggression, but no one wants to commit to anything.
CAZ are actually probably at the disadvantage in terms of sustain, because Atonement, he didn't build into the Devourer's Gauntlet. He went for a more standard Bruiser fusion build for Skadi. Speaking of which, now JacobHL actually taking a whole lot of damage. That Mantle of Discord proc, though, going to save his life for the moment.
Lurking in the waters, getting the slow spread around Mr. Turtle, again going for the backline. Thorns is popped. He has his 2 to spread that damage as well. Dobson going to go up into the sky. Maloaise looking for the kill. Thorns for him, trying to spread that damage around, but no one on RivaL is taking it except for Gnome right there. Caught between 4, gets taken down. The first casualty of this fight, and it looks like he's going to be the only casualty of this fight unless RivaL decide to turn around and come on in, but they don't have a lot of ults available. Watson hovering around, I like, just in case CAZ decided to go for an objective.
This has been the battle of the backlines so far, and now Elexum actually feeling confident to go in there. He knew that Rapio didn't have the stun to catch him out with, so if he was able to connect with that dash route, then the crush would just completely destroy Rapio.
Fire Giant started up. Watson hovering around. Circle of Protection still available, so he can throw that onto the Fire Giant and force away CAZ, or go for the steal, as he's not going to find the stun. That could have been a lot of damage to change the pace of the game onto Atonement, but not being able to connect with it is going to be the big thing. And bouncing around, this time CAZ looking like they might want to full commit onto it. Atonement hitting as hard as he can. They're going to end up leashing it just because the threat from RivaL's just a little bit too great for them to full commit.
Atonement just should not be the one pulling the Fire Giant. He doesn't have double sustain like Dobson. He can't afford to take that kind of poke. Even with the Terra heal, it's still not a good look for CAZ if their Hunter is with the attention and the aggro of the Fire Giant.
In other games, sustain can spell the difference. In some games, it will be the amount of burst you're able to do. This game is just who's going to be able to finally find that will to commit to something, whether or not it's going to be the right call or the wrong call. Both of these teams are very timid. I think RivaL recognizing what's on the line. All they need is one game, but if they lose both, it knocks them down. CAZ on the other side are really focused on being able to find the 2-0, and they weren't really in a good spot to try and find that earlier on.
Both of these teams really not looking to take any chances, but Maloaise, he won't get a choice in that one. It's back to the fountain for him, and now RivaL with the one-man advantage. And look at that death timer, because we're 47 minutes in climbing.
That was 75 when he went down, and 75 that he's going to be spending in time out. He's going to be stuck there, and that's going to be the big thing. You get a couple members down at this late in the game, that makes a big difference. As Rapio goes up into the sky, really just looking to zone. Mr. Turtle, though's in the backline, comes crashing down as Rapio looking for the zone, and he's going to be able to find it. Fire Giant finally picked up there by Team RivaL.
And Mr. Turtle, he might be the next target here for RivaL. Rapio just trying to deal as much damage as possible. Sprint has been popped. The chase is on. There is nowhere for this Turtle to run. He's going to pop the Thorns, trying to do everything he can to buy himself some time. It is no use, though. RivaL able to take out Mr. Turtle as well.
The big goal that I could see him having there was maybe create some space for his team, as now the wrecking crew that is Team RivaL wants to come in and rectify some of these towers and the casualties. They're down to 3, and they're going to go looking for a field day down the mid lane. They take 2 towers. They swing, at this point, gold back in their favor, but the Phoenix is the target.
This is perfect for RivaL, though. They managed to get the plug onto Elexum. Elexum forced away from this Phoenix. It's already down to half health. Now Atonement actually getting zoned out on the backside. That I'm a Monster. Huge damage on the Watson, but it wasn't enough to kill.
Maloaise going back in, trying to change the pace for the game, but again, immediately has to fall back, immediately dashes away, and with Fire Giant still there for quite some time, 3 more minutes available on it, RivaL, that's going to be the most successful push they've had. 2 towers and a Phoenix, and they can look to replicate that on any lane that they want to go through, but the Portal Demon's the first primary call, so they can buy whatever it is they want to buy at this point, and then come in a little bit stronger because of it.
That's one of the disadvantages of playing for the late game here, and that's just one of the risks that CAZ decided to take. When you get this deep into a game, the death timers just start to become your biggest enemy, and it's very clear that all it takes is one pick, especially onto a member such as Mr. Turtle, who has been doing such an excellent job at zoning away the carries from RivaL and just keeping them distracted from his own backline.
Looking to go through. RivaL have the distinct advantage at this point. Like, it's not a who's going to be able to go and find what first. It's they are ahead at this point. They have the Fire Giant, they have the pushing advantage, they have the gold advantage. I mean, experience doesn't matter at this point because everyone's level 20. It's going well, except for poor Terra. Switch left at level 19. But at this point, everyone except for Terra is level 20, so it's not going to make a huge difference. The big thing is going to be map control and then objective control right after that one. And right now, map control swinging very heavily in favor of RivaL. But as long as the Phoenixes and the Titan is still standing, CAZ has that fighting chance, and that's the big thing. With the way that the fights have been going, RivaL doesn't seem, even at this point, like they could commit onto the Titan and actually win, even with the lead they've managed to accrue.
It depends, though. RivaL not feeling too confident in all-inning that Titan, considering there's still 2 towers remaining in that right-hand side. They're actually just going to try and look at this left-hand Phoenix. Would be a great pickup for them, considering it's the furthest away from that Fire Giant pit as well.
This is the place for CAZ to turn around. The Phoenix counts as a 6th man in the fight when it comes through. All they have to do is get RivaL to come under it. The stun's going to be good on to Switch, but it's not going to be a lot. Up into the sky goes Maloaise on the right, and he's looking to try and cause some disruption into the backline as JacobHL, and looking to get bursted the same way that first fight went, and CAZ looking to turn it around with Elexum and a big hit.
And Elexum able to claim the life of Jacob, but not able to find that Monster Connect follow-up afterwards. Gnome and everybody else from RivaL is just looking to get out. They lost their tank. They're not willing to stick around. They know it's a 4v5, and they know just how much damage CAZ can put out. And
they do exactly what CAZ needs to do at that point. They hold back RivaL. They recognize Fire Giant's only on them for another 30 seconds. As long as we don't let them get this Phoenix, our base is covered. We're going to be fine. There's no fire minions we have to worry about, and we can continue to push back. RivaL having to fall back as far as they have. Yes, you get to go pick up a Gold Fury on the side of Dobson. Great for your team. Wards, all the power pots in the world that you might want to be able to buy. But they still have the 2 towers, like you had mentioned. They still have the 2 Phoenixes standing. And as long as they can defend that mid lane, which it's right around the corner from the Fire Giant, they're in a good position to continue contesting the way they have all game.
Unfortunately for RivaL, they secured that mid-Phoenix not too long after they got the Fire Giant, so the respawn timer is actually going to be a little bit in favor of CAZ because that lane isn't that far away from where you'd want to be engaging anyway.
And mid is the one they've been pushing up this entire time, so they're not really doing anything different than they've done. Yeah, it's going to take them a little bit longer to fight the fire minions, but about 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds longer with the damage they've accrued now. 52 minutes in, 16 to 19. Not quite both teams over 100,000 gold, but RivaL has been able to break that seal as they continue to look forward. Ratatoskr has a lot of orcs.
So look at the player damage, though. Just top of the charts. And Mr. Turtle, leading the charge. No surprise, because that reflect damage, it is really just, the reflect damage is insane from Kuzenbo.
And I feel maybe that's part of why RivaL always gets locked into it. They're just looking at that beautiful Kuzenbo smile, and he's happy because he's sitting at the top, 42,000 player damage, and potentially looking to extend that even further. He's always the one on CAZ who's going towards the backline. He's looking for the kills, he's looking for the setup, and even right now, the rest of his team kind of scattered around on the right-hand side of the map. He's standing up front, ready to kind of set them up if anything happens for RivaL.
One thing I love, though, is Switch's pickup of the Relic Dagger, because with how long these engagements have been for the team fights, you usually have the opportunity to have those actives come back up, especially when you're eliminating an extra 30 seconds off of them just from having that item.
Looking for the setup coming into it. JacobHL looking for a pluck. He wants a good pluck. The problem is the only people he can see are Switch and Mr. Turtle. They're too taking to go in, and he's trying to find it. He's going to be able to get one, but now he's going to be locked down. The damage coming through, but it's not going to be enough to lock anyone on CAZ. Maloaise looking to change the tide of the fight, comes crashing into the lack line, and now they're at half health. Rapio in the same circumstances. He gets taken down by the crush from Scylla, and Maloaise, while he did dive into the backline, while he did get a lot of damage, takes the first spill.
Maloaise just looking to try and distract everybody from chasing Elexum. Now Mr. Turtle falling incredibly low. Dobson making swift work of that turtle. Atonement trying to escape from Gnome now. Knows that he's got those thorns popped. Can't afford to attack him in return. He's going to be able to get back to his Phoenix, and now Switch, Elexum, and Atonement are just going to have to try and do their best to defend this Fire Giant.
Chasing all back in. Lower health bars, but not so low that you don't feel comfortable going for it. Dobson going to be the one chosen to tank this up, as he does have the sustain. And Watson does not have Circle of Protection, so really all it takes is Elexum with one Ammo Monster to come through, change the tide of the game. Not going to be able to connect onto them, and he ends up taking a spill. All he needed was those kills, but now it's 3 for none, and RivaL are in a lead, but not enough that they're comfortable enough to go for the Fire Giant.
Oh no. RivaL is just going to go for the Portal Demon. They're not even going to bother with the Fire Giant. They don't even want to go for the Portal Demon now. This is going to be I think they're having a staring competition.
Yeah, I mean, Atonement's hanging around, so they're like, maybe this ADC is going to do a lot, but yeah, they're just
don't break eye
going
contact.
for it. It's the same thing that happened earlier. Whoever blinks first is the one who loses the Portal Demon. And the way it's been going, it's back and forth between the two. It's everyone going to, again, fall back. They don't want to risk. The objective is not going to be as deadly as possible, although it is going to be a nice trip back to the Fire Giant pit. And with the respawn timers coming up for CAZ, it's a little bit bigger, but they're not committing onto it. Rapio goes in for Atonement. Doesn't hit that hard.
Ooh, but that does. Spirit Ball was a connect from Watson, trying to follow it up with a Wing Gust. Now the Suns are going to come down as well on top of Atonement. No escape. The triple ult will take him out.
Staggering the timers, the death timers now. Atonement's going to be out of the fight for a long time, and that's a lot of time for RivaL to be able to push forward and try to take something out of it. The problem is now Mr. Turtle and soon Elexum and Maloaise have all returned to the battlegrounds, and they're here to be able to come on in and try to fight it. Portal Demon's being taken again, but they're hovering around it, and I've seen this stance from them before.
They can do
They're
it.
ready to drop it if they need to.
They're gonna do it. Oh, they did it. Look at that. On objective, secured. 56 minutes, RivaL able to claim the next Portal Demon. But Atonement will be respawning in about 40 seconds, and with Elexum back up, it's gonna mean that RivaL probably aren't gonna want to try and take this Fire Giant. He has that I'm a Monster. It's a really great steal secure, so RivaL just trying to be safe again.
Don't know if you caught it, but the Crabs, they're still fighting over there, just in case you were wondering. We needed to update that one as RivaL finally looking to start up the Fire Giant again. But I've seen this dance before, and it's going to come through. Spirit Ball going to connect onto Switch, taking a lot of damage, but he's in a position to set his team up. Mr. Turtle going to go for the disruption. Up into the sky goes Rapio, looking to come crashing down and set something up. The question is, who can he hit and who does he go for? And the answer is no one.
Rapio was just waiting to see where Maloaise would land. If Maloaise tried to go in on Dobson or Watson, who had both already, or Watson at least had just used his Aegis, then Rapio was just going to immediately follow up, prevent that Ratatoskr from getting that stun in. Elexum now, he's got the I'm a Monster. He's waiting. He wants to go, but he's already poked out. He's just going to die.
Now using Sentinel to try and run away, but Gnome chasing him down, going to find the kill. 87 in the timeout box as Mr. Turtle going to be able to push Rapio back into the back line. Age is going to be good to keep him alive a little bit longer as he's trying to find the kill. Anyone on CAZ wants to commit, but Mr. Turtle's the only one really fighting as hard as he can. Switch comes in and they're looking for it. Maloaise finally dashing through, gets some damage, looking for the kill, finally gets the hit, and Rapio is going to take a spill as Gnome is the next lowest target.
It's just a full-on brawl right now between RivaL and CAZ eSports. Atonement now. Maloaise actually has that ultimate back. He's ready to try and commit onto Dobson. He will be able to find him, but the Aegis is going to buy Dobson some time.
Maloaise going to take the spill there. Now 2 for 1. The Suns are dropped. Switch taking the damage, looking for some return. And he's going to be able to dash away. That's going to be the big one for him. He's using Terra's Blessing as well, but the stun might be enough to lock him down for RivaL as he's slowly but surely slipping right through their fingers. And with only 3 members left, maybe RivaL can finally commit to this Fire Giant as they kind of go. They look at it in the pit, but here's Atonement and here's Mr. Turtle.
Just a little bit too quick with that return. Switch, not even bothering to back to base, knows that he has to stick around or else RivaL are going to... Actually, I can't say that RivaL are going to take the Fire Giant because even with 2 people, there, even if it's just one person, RivaL don't want to commit to that Fire Giant. Watson does have his ultimate available, so if they wanted to, they could secure that. Elexum is dead, but sometimes you just gotta back to base, buy some power pots again, a couple more sentries because everybody's full build, and now we dance. That's really it. They're just gonna dance over the Fire Giant again.
Approaching 60 minutes, and this is game number 1, by the way, for anyone who might just be tuning in. This is the first one in the clash of these two Titans. CAZ needs a 2-0 here, and they are still behind if you look at kills, if you look at gold. Experience is negligible completely at this point. Is JacobHL going to get caught out? The big thing is they just don't want to commit fully to either the fight or the Fire Giant on either side. Gnome might be the first casualty, but again, he's just going to be able to walk on out.
Thankfully for Gnome, Elexum wasn't able to connect with that root. If that had hit, then the crush damage follow-up would have been pretty large amount of his damage, pretty substantial, but instead he's going to be able to survive no problem.
Of all of the objectives, we don't have a count on the Portal Demon, but for Fire Giant and Gold Fury, all have been in favor of Team RivaL, as right now Atonement is going to be the one, again, trying to tank this one up. The rest of his team hovering around. Elexum is alive, and we saw last time he does know he can secure it. He knows that ult does a lot of damage, but the problem is getting the Fire Giant low enough that you're comfortable to not only go in, but also keep Watson zoned away, who's got those nice shiny auras to get that damage down, and Mr. Turtle, again, looking to be the one who's going to aggress and set up for his team.
Mr. Turtle, though, didn't get hit by that Spirit Ball from Watson. He had that Reflect up and running anyway, so don't really want to connect with that usually. JacobHL poked out to already half of his health just from one Crush Root combination from Elexum.
I feel like at this point, if it weren't for the timer ticking at top and the fact that I've been able to see numbers going up, this looks like a repeat of the same few minutes that RivaL doesn't want to go in for the Portal Demon. They finally commit to the Portal Demon, then they go back and they're at the staring contest for the Fire Giant, and CAZ doesn't want to commit, and RivaL doesn't want to commit.
I want a timer of how long these two teams have spent just grouped here. Just grouped here in this spot. That would be interesting to see, but it's just because they both know how great their mage secure is, although when you're at 61 minutes and climbing for a game, it really does not matter. You have the damage. Either side could full commit here onto the Fire Giant. They're just concerned about the fight that would break out afterwards if they use their ultimates for that secure. And
the big thing, CAZ is taking quite a few spills in each of these fights, and the timers are so long that it's such a pain for them to be able to defend. But the problem is that RivaL isn't able to get more than 2, maybe 3 max members. They don't have that chance to be able to break down into the bases. Now they're looking finally for the fight. JacobHL again taking a lot of the pressure, and then everyone just falls apart.
Nobody wants to move forward until just now. They're waiting for that CC immunity to wear off on JacobHL. Now Maloaise going to make Jacob his target, maybe. No, instead it's going to be the Portal Demon that will be secured by CAZ. Rapio comes crashing down on top of everybody as well, but Elexum was just looking to get some damage out.
The Aegis good from Dobson to keep him alive, but Switch still chasing, going to be going in. The slow's going to be good. Dobson going to be taken down. Elexum finally getting himself a kill right there. Another kill as he comes in 5 on the Scylla. But they're going to be backing off, trying to keep control. Watson caught between all 5 members, and that's not the place you want to be if you're ISIS.
Watson did everything that he possibly could there, trying to buy his team just a little bit of time. 3 members still alive for RivaL, although not necessarily the members you want if you're trying to contest a Fire Giant. RivaL probably just going to opt to give this one up. They don't really have a means to get back in time to prevent CAZ from securing it anyway.
Although, going down relatively slow, they might have been able to come over if they wanted to, but again, they don't have like the ults available that you would want to be able to walk in and steal it, and with Watson being down, it's not really a big opening for them. They'll fall back, they're looking to defend. They still have 3 Phoenixes and 3 towers standing, as it looks like we'll finally have CAZ, not necessarily in the lead, but finally with a Fire Giant and able to start pushing back.
The better decision would probably be for CAZ to push up that left-hand side, take away the remaining T1 and T2 towers in that lane, just because there's a T1 still there, and that's probably what they're going to opt to do. But they also want to make sure that they're pushing that mid lane at the same time, because they have a weakened mid-Phoenix. So if they're able to return fire onto RivaL's mid-Phoenix, then that could even things up a little bit with these engagements.
So we're at the point it's been there for a little while, but this is pure Smite when it comes down to it. There's no I'm ahead, you're ahead. There's no I have more gold than you. There is no level advantage or disadvantage. It is we're all 6 slotted, we're all ready to go. Who has the better shot calling and who has the better team fight when it comes down to it? Mechanics are what changes the game.
It's team fight, and it's mostly mechanics and shot calling here than anything else, because you can lose a team fight and still potentially win the game. It just all depends on how you choose to try and spread that map pressure, and maybe even just look for split push in certain scenarios. It's late enough now to where either side could potentially just send a hunter to one lane with the way that these fights have been going, at least, and they probably wouldn't be sorely missed.
Looking to try and break down a Phoenix, and I like the target of the left Phoenix to cause all those fire minions on the opposite side of the Fire Giant potentially give CAZ some advantage later on. But the problem is that there's no full commit even going down. Rapio uses the ult, but his team doesn't follow up.
That Brawler's proc, though, onto Atonement means that he's going to wait a couple of seconds here before looking to heal off of Switch's sustain. Sure enough, between the Fire Giant and this Terra heal, he'll be able to get back up to full health.
Stuck in a position where CAZ, they want to break in. They want to break through. Nene might be the thing to go through, and Elexum's going to be the one that breaks the damage out, and he's trying to find Gnome. He's trying to find JacobHL, but they're just so tanky that it's not going to be able to do it. He actually ends up falling back to low health to continue fighting, and now turning it on its head. The Phoenix being enough damage accompanying the rest of RivaL. The CAZ can't break in as well as they'd like.
Fire Giant was only the beginning for CAZ. They've got to make sure that they can beat RivaL in the team fight to secure it. JacobHL is incredibly low right now, but Atonement's forced out of both of his actives. Everybody from CAZ is just trying to disengage again.
All ults down, all ults off the board. Mr. Turtle looking to push and try to find whatever he can. Dobson one hit away from being able to take a spill. Him and JacobHL falling into the back line there for RivaL. Mr. Turtle trying to lead the way, but he's getting a little uncomfortable in that yellow health bar. The same thing goes here for Maloaise. As they fall back, they try to heal up, but at this point, even though it's nice healing, you can get a couple of your members all the way back up. You can still continue to fight as you're now all in the green. It's not as good as the fountain, which RivaL has sitting right behind them. Rapio goes up into the sky, though, looking to come crashing down.
Still no deaths from either side. Elexum forced into that Aegis because of the ultimate again from Rapio. Rapio using his own Aegis to avoid the damage from Maloaise, but he can't avoid that crush. And now Elexum and Rapio both incredibly poked out. Watson's Spirit Ball couldn't find Elexum on that escape, though.
CAZ has been sitting here in a pool of healing as best they can to come up. Elexum is the big one to keep alive right now. If he takes a spill, they lose a lot of damage and a lot of their ability to break in. Atonement is going to be their push, but the door opener is going to be Elexum as Maloaise comes crashing in looking for someone to hit, but he doesn't know who exactly. Going for the front line is going to be Gnome and JacobHL one more time. They're getting low, but they're still tanks. They're still going to be as healthy as possible, and with that, I'm a monster completely off the mark. We're going to be able to see CAZ not find a way into this Phoenix, and at this point, they have 10 seconds left on this Fire Giant.
Somebody has got to get Elexum a stun happening or whatnot. It's just so many I'm a Monsters have been completely off the mark, and without that huge team fighting ability, it just means that CAZ no longer have the means to keep pushing.
This game is a seesaw. Both teams go up, and then one goes up, one goes down. One goes up, one goes down, and they're trading it back and forth now. 67 minutes into the game. They have now both broken that 100,000 mark on their gold. And
you want some Pop-Tarts?
I mean, at this point, popcorn wouldn't be that bad, actually. You can kind of sit back, relax, like you're watching a movie. Maybe get some recliner seats in here for us.
Can't relax too much, though. Rapio looking to try and pressure out CAZ again. Not just kidding. He just wanted to get them off the Portal Demon for the
he just wanted to
100th
distract
time
us
this game, because we've seen that one before a few times.
He said we were getting too relaxed. We were getting too out of it. The Pop-Tarts were too tempting, Taco, and now we have to keep. He wants us to pay attention to them and give them as much spotlight as they can. They're 70 minutes in on the big screen.
No one's going to get the Portal Demon by 70-minute mark. And now it's going to be JacobHL trying to escape from the damage. Terra's Blessing going to be popped here. That means that Terra's Blessing means go. Everybody's trying to chase down JacobHL. He's so deep in that backline, but he's just too tanky to eliminate.
Another I'm a Monster, not going to connect with anything. Watson low, though. JacobHL finally going to get taken down. One more hit, a couple more hits, actually, because the protections are too strong and the jukes are too good. Maloaise finally gets that, and we have one player down. 97 was the number on that death timer when he went through. And the Portal Demon started up. They have 2 minutes to prove you wrong.
Prove me wrong, CAZ. Do it. They're still not doing it. But they might do it. They're halfway there.
It's going.
Here we
going.
Oh, it's gone.
Now Rapio comes crashing in, looking to try and get some return, looking for the push, but he's going to get pushed as the damage is going to be coming through. But unfortunately for them, it's not going to be enough to find the kill, and that's been the story of the game. But Watson taken down. The same thing I said for RivaL still applies here for CAZ, though. Even though they're big timers, it's only 2 members. They don't have enough to break into the Phoenix.
But with 2 members being dead for so long from RivaL, I would prefer if CAZ just pushed down a lane and took a Phoenix. Fire Giant, not that important right now when you have 2 members dead for so long, especially since one of those is Watson. Watson has been one of the primary objective defenders here. Ice is just so great at pushing people off the Phoenix when you're turtling, and it's just going to be a Fire Giant into a T2 tower siege is what it's looking like.
I think that was the first Fire Giant we've seen that hasn't been, I'm going to start it, I'm going to stop it, I'm going to start it, I'm going to stop. It was just, we started it and we got it. And that's going to be big for CAZ to be able to potentially break through. Coming in on 70 minutes, they're going to be able to eliminate the next to last tower on the map, the last tower standing for RivaL. But now they're in the same position they were on the left-hand side. Can they break into the Phoenix and switch? Looking to be the one who wants to go in first.
They've got to take this advantage. Watson is still down for another 30 seconds. All eyes are on this Phoenix. Atonement doing a great job at focusing it out, trying to get it down, trying to take their first Phoenix of the game. Maloaise now up in the air, trying to prevent RivaL from stopping him on that siege.
Rapio is back with his ult available. The same thing, Watson coming up in about 15 seconds. But the big win, a Phoenix has fallen. That's the second Phoenix of the game, if you remember, a long time ago at this point. It feels like eons. That middle Phoenix did fall for CAZ once upon a time, and it's taking a little bit of damage right now, as it looks like RivaL have maybe an opportunity to retaliate for a little bit. CAZ aren't going to continue their aggression. A little bit too low. I guess they just wanted to back and spend some gold on some more sentry wards.
CAZ has so long remaining on this Fire Giant that they just wanted to make sure that they were full health, full mana, full everything before trying to siege the mid or left-hand Phoenix from RivaL, because Watson is back up, and Watson has all actives have now been refreshed. It has been long enough in the game to where everything is totally good to go, except for maybe a Mantler Discord proc.
Not going for the Gold Fury. I'm proud of CAZ here. That doesn't matter anymore.
Sometimes you want a 71-minute Gold Fury.
I mean, it's a big swing. It can come into style points. If you can kill it with a backflip on Neath, even though you don't have it, you get a little bit extra.
If you go high enough in the goal charts, it just starts over. That's
I would actually like to see that. That's what I want to see. Make this game go long enough to see 99999. I want to know if you can get to 1,000,000 gold here.
I'm not sure about that one, but what I am sure about is CAZ trying to make sure that they get this left-hand Phoenix siege. Loving the split push out of Maloaise, just putting pressure in both lanes.
And this time it's better than the split push Kuzenbo that we saw earlier, although I will give Mr. Turtle credit. He did get that tier 2 tower in the mid when he was pushing it. This is the same Phoenix they were stagnant at earlier, and it's looking like it's going to be the same Phoenix that they're going to be stalled at right here as they go in. They're looking for anything that they might be able to find, but the problem is again, too much split up, not enough connection coming out from Elexum, and again he misses the Emma Monster.
A little bit of miscommunication there. Mr. Turtle was pushing him back, but Atonement still able to find the kill. Great cleanup pick there. Maloaise now battling off against Gnome, but everybody's fairly low from CAZ. Terra Sustain, though, going to help him out alongside that Fire Giant regen, and Jacob is just gone for so long. This should be another Phoenix for CAZ.
Looking to try and break this one down. Fire minions on the right-hand side as well to be able to break in and start dealing some damage to the Titan, which is going to allow it to go through. We've seen Winions already through some of these splits, so we know that they can be very effective as the Phoenix does fall. Third Phoenix on the board, and Rapio wants to go in. He's trying to defend it, but he just gets pushed on in.
Great push in by Mr. Turtle. Excellent engage, but Atonement just got hit by a huge spirit ball. Gnome now, though, trapped in between everybody. He's not going to be able to get away.
Gonna get knocked down, 2 out. He's over 100 on that timer coming through at 72 minutes. It's a long time to be stuck outside the game. It's enough time for CAZ to be able to break into this Titan room. 3 Phoenixes down. All they need to do is be able to push on in. All they have to do is find the commit to the damage, and they're going to heal up just a little bit beforehand.
This is going to be it. There's no way that RivaL can hold off, and sure enough, wow, that was crazy. It's almost like that could have happened 22 minutes ago.
Just was there, and then it wasn't. That was 70 minutes. Hope you are ready to stretch for a little bit, as that was only game 1.
game 1, but RivaL with that victory, or actually with that loss. Yeah, with that loss means that CAZ actually have the ability to maybe overthrow RivaL from that 2nd seed. And if they're able to take 2nd from RivaL, that means that CAZ is headed to LAN instead.
And even if it is 72 minutes of a grueling back and forth fight for them, a win is really all they need. So that's really what they were looking for there. Now they're standing, both teams at this point, 1 win away from being able to kind of secure themselves that spot. And this is where it puts it all on the line. RivaL, they're going to be a little unhappy, I would think, after that. They're coming into it, and as we have a nice replay coming through, you can see crab on crab battle. Whoever won this changed the game.
Basically the highlight. I think that both sides were really just undervaluing and not really paying attention to just how much damage they could actually do. It just really felt like they didn't realize, if I drop a crush onto a person 60 minutes deep into a game, I'm probably going to take out 1k of their health.
Yeah, comes through, and we saw, so it's always the same crab that wins. Unfortunately, it was a lot like CAZ kind of at the end of that. They were winning the team fights.
Alpha, he's the alpha.
He's the alpha.
Of the crabs. And
there are 4 crabs there, and then only 1 wants to stand up to him. He's probably just a bully.
Refreshing Kuzenbo victory, though, for CAZ. Mr. Turtle, I think Mr. Turtle was probably the standout point for me in that game. Mr. Turtle is really the primary reason in my eyes why CAZ was able to win that game. He was doing a lot of work as far as the sumo slams are concerned, just pushing members of RivaL into his own team's backline, allowing his carries to have that free casting ability. And sure, there were some instances where RivaL were able to punish him for it, or punish his team, depending on who he pulled into that backline. But for the most part, he had really great map awareness and target focus.
And there were a lot of fights there where I think early on in this case was the 30-minute mark around there, that in the Fire Giant pit, where most of the game was played, he was going into the backline. He was the one dealing the damage and doing the disruption for CAZ, so he was able to do a lot. But we do have